Hi there, Chris here, and Suki. Okay, I finally found a Huber lock cylinder. Didn't have anything to retain it on the back, so I had to do that. But this fits the Huber Suki head key, this keyway. And the key came from one place, the cylinder came from another. Of course, key pins didn't fit, but I have re-pinned the key pins, and now it works quite nicely. And it's kind of tough to pick if you look at, let's see if I can do this, that keyway. Let's see, can we see the key in there, or the pins? The pins are right kind of off. There's some tickly little warding in the way. So it's not easy to pick. When I first got it, it didn't have a key, so I had to pick it. I found that it only had 4 pins in it, so when I was repinning the key pins, I put a 5th driver pin and spring in there, and key pin. So I'm not sure I can pick it on camera. I have picked it once. And also, if you can see on the right here, these are, I believe it was the Valerian lock pick set that I got just one from Skull Picker, and I've taken some of them and put shrink wrap on them. This is what they look like without. So real bare first impressions. They're really nice tools. I am kind of stuck in my ways. If you watch my channel, you see that I pick about at least 90% of things with this pick, and this is a Sparrow's Euro medium hook. And it's just so thin here. Pick makers don't want to make them thin there because people break them. I've been picking on with this for probably a year. You can see it's a little bit bent, but I'm very easy on picks. I've broken, and all the time I've been picking, I've only broken one of these. But I can understand why pick makers don't want to make the shaft too thin because they'll bend and break, and I think most people are a lot harder on picks than I am. I don't ever pick off ledges. Not that I don't think it's a good thing to do. It's just, it's not my style. I just float it in there and pick. I don't wedge off of a ledge and pick up. Also, I made only one pick, and this is the pick I made, and this was a long time ago, and I didn't even think about it. I just started grinding it with what felt right, and as you can see, this whole shaft is very narrow all the way down. And this is, I think, 18 thousandths. And I do use this sometime. But my first impression on these, if you're used to picking with, how do I put this? Normal height shafts. These are a little thinner, a little narrower than that, and these are wonderful. I haven't picked much with them. This, let's see, which one have I tried? I think I've tried this one, and I got one of these stuck in there. When I picked it, what did I pick it with? I believe I picked it with this, and this is one of the SS Devs. Skinny. So I will try and pick it. Hopefully I can pick it and gut it and show you what's inside, because it is an old lock. I would say somewhere in the 30s, maybe before, maybe a little bit after. But when you get in there, you find that it has the driver pins that have the little nub on them. So they were, hand cut off of a lathe by somebody just sitting there, cutting them off, and there's that little teeny nub. If you just watched Bearsback, this morning, he posted a video where he showed how to make, pins for challenge locks. And if you look at the little nubs that are left over from the pin stock that he uses, you see that little nub, and that can be taken off. But on your lathe, on your mini lathe or your Dremel tool, you just cut down, straight down until it just breaks off, and the result is a tiny little nub. So anyway, these are all standard pins, but because of this keyway and standard, fairly good tolerances, it is not an easy pick, and especially in the back. And I think when I do get it, it gives it up on 5. And when I'm trying to reach back there, even this shaft gets in the way. So I go a little bit lower and use this, which is hard to navigate around in there with that big hook on the end of it. But it is what is pretty much required to set that last pin. And then I'll come back and make sure everybody else is good. And I'm too busy talking to really pay attention to what I'm doing, but I use light tension like I always do. That's another reason maybe I don't break picks, because I'm not fighting a lot of tension. Really, the only picks that I tend to break are either the Sparrow's Worms or the double peak. I gotta let Slinky out. Nope, didn't get it. All right, hold on. I'll be right back. Oh, Slinky. Ooh, long video so far. All right, let's see if I can get into here. It would be nice to not take forever. Okay, I start with this guy. And it really is tough because you got to get right in there, because I don't know if you could see it very well, but there's something right along here, some warding that right next to the pins that guard against, coming in and going sideways. So, and you have to get them pretty high up there. And because you bang around warding, when you have light tension going in and out, a lot of times you hit the warding and the light tension isn't enough to keep the pin from dropping because you bang it the wrong way. But it's my style. It's not, I don't know of too many other people who pick like this. Most people pick like this, and they use the ledge, and it's a much more precise way of picking, but I kind of call myself a hack picker. And it just seems to work for me. guess that's why I use the picks I do and the tension I do, because it seems to work. Not working today on this, but so I've only picked this once, and it's not a lot of feedback because they're all standard pins. And it's tough. You really have to get everybody good before you get into the back. And I can't always tell, when I've got everybody good. And it also wants to overset too, so, which is always something, that's an issue with light tension. But if it's light enough, like if you're picking Lockwoods and stuff, they want to overset, then if it's light enough, they'll come back down. So, I wouldn't advise anybody learning this way. I mean, I don't teach, if somebody wanted me to teach them, or the few people I've worked with, I don't try and teach my method, my way of picking. I try and get them to actually pick like everybody does, which would be it's much better for them, I think. But I'm messed up, so there you go. All right, Mr. Huber, Mr. Suki Cathead Key, lock. I don't think I can get any kind of, well, I might be able to get a double peak in there a little bit, but I don't think it's going to get up high enough to do me any good. All it is I'm fighting warding and certainly can't feel it. Okay, there's that stuck point. All right, let's see if I can finish it up with this. It might actually be 4 and 5 that it hangs up on. Hard to say because I've only picked it once. And sometimes, and I'm sure it happens with you guys, sometimes you just have intuitive picking knowledge / skills that all come together, and maybe even a little bit of luck, and you get stuff like, first time you put your pick in, or first couple of goes at a tough one, and then you can't pick it again. You go, what the hell did I do? And I'm at this point right now. What the hell did I do to get in here? I do have a very good memory of what I was using to get it open. Especially if it's a funny keyway like this. There we go. Actually, that ended up being 2. So, let's see if I can get my makeshift thing off the back. I tried to find one of my old Yales. Oh, we do have a key, so we can lock it back up. The Suki head key. I tried to find one of my old Yales. I do have it. I will find it eventually. That shows what this whole setup, what it looks, the originals look like. I just couldn't find it for this video. And Suki, I did ask her to look at the drawers and see if she could do a CAT scan and find it for me, but she's being too lazy. Huh, Suk? You can tell she's being lazy. All right. 14 minutes. Well, that's nothing. I think Murloc is just trying to figure out which tension wrench at this point. No, that wasn't. He's an amazing picker. He just did a very long video and wanting to people to ask or comment on his choice of most bang for the buck of a padlock, and he just posted that. He posted that, I guess, last night, and it's a really great video. It's very long, but certainly worth watching and leaving your comment on what it is. So that's 2. Now these are not original key pins. Well, come on, Chris. Come on, Chris. All of the original ones did not match either of these 2 Huber keys I have. So it has been filed on the top of this. I think that's original. I think that's how they did them. It's possible a locksmith was in there because, you know, one of the key pins was, in driver setups, was missing. So I have the original ones were steel. And this is the vintage of very, very old, like Yale locks, where some of these key pins are serrated, and they're not serrated like a screwdriver, but just serrated across, like, you know, line after line after line after line. Very, very old stuff. William Mansell showed some from his video just, I don't know, a couple days ago, his little series of those type of pins. All right, let's see if I can get this to focus here. Boy, man, this is... See that little nub? You see those, and that comes out of a very old lock. And all these drivers are all standard, but they have that little nub. Here's another one that has a nub. So 1 through 4 are all standard are all original drivers and springs. 5 is an additional. I had to add that because it wasn't here, but I did use an old standard driver and a spring that was pretty much the same. And then you'll see on these older springs, I'll show you in a minute. Whoa, come here. Don't be jumping out like that. There it is. Okay. All right, let me find the... Okay, here we go. Oh, no, that hand doesn't work. Well, the hand works, but not for focusing. So here's the differences in the springs. They're very close, but oftentimes in the very old locks, you'll see the bottom part is finished, but see how the top part is just cut? So that's finished off. Now this is a newer type spring where it's finished off on both sides. They have those 2 or 3 coils at the end. This has a very short, like 2 coils, but it's not cut off raw. Anyway, long video, but hopefully people found that interesting. I found it interesting because I had not heard of a Huber lock. Oh, the spring's not going to come back. I had not heard of a Huber lock until I saw this key, and this was the first one I got, and it didn't say Huber on it. I had to go on my book, one of my old key catalogs, well, Suki's old key catalog, and look it up and find that it was a Huber, and then find this Huber core. So there you go. Interesting stuff on the Valerian. Very, very first impressions in the Suki key headlock, and the cat herself. So excited about this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Certainly hit the like, make a comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time.